All right, so I'm gonna go ahead and call the meeting to order. It's 7:15, March 17th, 2020. Call the meeting to order. A quick attendance: Brendan Alleman, present. Richard Sullivan here. Andy Yale here. Nate Stacy, not here. Thelma LaVoy, not here. Cliff Krolik, not here. And Gerard Clifford. So we've got a quorum. We can move forward. If you guys want to just go over the minutes real quick from the last. Yeah. I'm good with it. All right, so we're good with the minutes. I'll make a motion that we accept the minutes. All those in favor? All right, minutes accepted. So if we go down the menu here, Terry McGuire's first. Let's go ahead and put him at the bottom. He's not here. We have some applicants in front of us. We'll address them first. So William Armington. All right. I don't know if Brendan got a chance to look at this. This was the original complaint order from the CEO. If you just want to look at that real quick, then maybe we can discuss some thoughts on this. Okay, so any thoughts from either of you guys on this? And we have to, I was struggling with if we even have jurisdiction over this application. All right, that's where I'm at with this. I don't see where the planning board has any authority on this application at all. This is a homestead.
This is what the clarification that I was kind of looking for last time.
Right.
Sorry, it sounds like.
Yeah, speak up, friend.
Sorry, but it sounds like, he did, and I don't have the land use statement in front of me, but he addresses wildlife rehabilitation, animal care, and kennels, village residential. So.
Right, but I think that insinuates that it is a business, and you said that it's not a business. Was there some misinterpretation or miscommunication between you and the CEO as far as, is it a commercial venture there, or is it just a homestead?
It's not a commercial venture.
Right, and I think that's what they've repeated over and over. It's just a homestead. It's not a commercial venture at all.
I'm guessing, so that's my sense, that's how it reads, though, as long as it's not commercial.
Right, right. And if it were, then maybe we would have some jurisdiction over it, but it's not.
I mean, I think there's two issues. I think from what I've understood from reading this and following it on email and first came here, some of this arose as a sort of misunderstanding about the fact that I guess he's the applicant here, actually filed a building permit for a barn. The CEO somehow got the impression he had not, and things progressed from there.
Right.
As far as I read through all the ordinances a couple of times to see if anything applied to keeping animals, I can't find anything per se. And we have, a prior applicant came before the board maybe 4 or 5 months ago. The Clarks wanted to put a stable in place. They're analogous to this in that they live in the village residential section. They have mucho animals. I don't know whether it's commercial or not. I'm assuming it's not. And that's never been an issue, so I'm saying it's a traditional use.
Mm-hmm.
And much of this is a misunderstanding caused by some kind of clerical glitch. It went from there.
I mean, I would agree pretty much, but
I guess it's, and I'm kind of, my feeling is that we're sort of like, just went up here. The only other thing I remember seeing last time was the barn, having a barn.
Right. But it meets the setbacks, I
Right.
think, and again, that's a code enforcement issue, so.
No, but I think it said there was something.
Would you like the permit?
I gotta find it.
He's got a copy of the permit if you want.
Yeah, no, that's not what I meant, outdoor bases. Oh. Sorry, that's not. But it says.
Yes, again, gets to the point of what does the planning board have to do with that? Again, those are enforcement issues, right? They are, there's, there are recommendations as far as how many animals per square foot, but I don't see any authority of the planning board there, you know? I see it's a code enforcement issue if things aren't, done according to code. Beyond that, I really don't know what the planning board would do here.
I'm sorry, go ahead.
Right. Well, they were good recommendations, certainly. They were good recommendations.
There's another piece I want to make you guys aware of, you might already be. Marion Wright told me that this same issue came up when she was on the planning board about 15 or 20 years ago. The same plot of land, the same abutters, and that, in her words, the conflict followed the land way before these people were resident there. So I think we also have to be aware there may be some kind of historical issue in terms of abutters, and the right of way. I'm not quite clear what it was, but she was very definite that the same plot of land.
Right. And see, the right of way is not even before us here. You know, what's before us is a homestead and the animals. You know, I don't see anything for us to rule on the right of way. This is why it seems like it's just, to me, we have nothing to do. I mean, I don't know what else to say. I really, unless, Brendan's digging something up there.
Again, I'm not trying to, I just remember this, when
No,
I found last time I saw it, I finally get the barn, it's the last thing, barn, stables and barns.
Yep.
So you get the definition of a barn, and I'm just thinking that was one of the things that Jesse thought of, it had nothing to do with having a permit, but actually having a barn.
Well, there was a pole barn, there was a pole barn that was put up, he's got the permit there. I think that was the back and forth between them. It was about the pole barn not having a permit, but you actually did have a permit for it. I think it was issued by the previous CEO.
Yeah, it was misfiled, yeah.
Okay, so that was the issue with the barn. Jesse thought there was no permit on file, it was misfiled. David Bauer issued the permit.
But, I'm just saying, this is what I'm trying to make sure you clarify, it says under, on the table, it says page 18, outdoor resource-based uses, stables, barns.
Okay, so if you were,
Requires site plan review,
Yeah.
go to definition.
so if you were building a barn, that would be the case. That barn's built, it's been built for a year, right?
No, this is the use of this, I don't think it has to do with having it built, it's what, having a barn, and you define the barn as.
So if I decide to
A
put
building used for the storing farm products and sheltering livestock.
okay, so I have a barn. If I decide to put animals in there, I gotta come to the planning
I
board?
don't know, that's what I'm at,
I don't think so.
So what does that mean then?
I would say absolutely, people don't have to come to the planning board to put animals in their barn.
Well, that's what I would say, but read it.
I'll read it, but I don't.
I would tend to agree with you, I'm just confused, it just says barn, it has a use.
Stables and barns, I would assume that's to build one. I would assume that's to build one.
Site plan review to build.
Sure. I mean, the site plan you to use a barn makes no sense to me.
Right.
None at all.
Would that be in a position of how many barns are there in town?
Yeah.
A lot.
Well, if somebody were to build a barn, I can see why they would come before
I'm good.
the planning board.
Perfect. That's
Okay,
it.
so as far as this application
I'm clear.
goes, I would say I'll make a motion to, I don't even make Mr. Wordsmith. We don't want to approve this application because that sets precedent that they want to bring homestead.
I would say that based on traditional use in Parsonsfield,
Make a motion to say the planning board has no
planning board
jurisdiction.
doesn't have jurisdiction
So
over
that's
the.
denying the application.
No, I don't want to say that. I don't want to say that. I don't want to approve it because it sets precedent. I would make a motion to refuse to entertain the application due to the fact that the planning board has no jurisdiction over homesteads. Would anybody agree with that or disagree with that?
Something like that, I can see, I mean, just essentially that we don't have jurisdiction.
Yeah.
Under our ordinances, there's nothing that we
I
have.
would might wanna make it a little bit less negative, so it doesn't leave them in a kind of ambiguous situation. It says that homesteads are a traditional usage in the town of Parsonsville.
Well, if we have to make some type of rule.
Well, I think, you know,
The planning board doesn't have.
or we can tie it to being like, you know, in light of the fact that none of these listed uses are for commercial purposes. It doesn't fall under the purview of the planning board.
Sure, there's a lot of, but I'm trying to think how I can.
That's what it is, boils down to the fact that as long as this is in the business, that's it. I mean,
All right.
If it were, then, you know, then there would be some discussion, but it's not. So I think, to me, that's the rationale for not viewing it, right? That these are all permissible uses, they're not.
So again, if I need
Historical or otherwise,
to
you know.
summarize it in a motion here, I'll say I make a motion to, I had it a minute ago. I'll make a motion to, I don't know, to refuse to hear the application, no, refuse. I'll make a motion to.
The planning board cannot entertain the applicants.
Yeah, but I need to make a motion that we can vote on, so there's something. So I'm gonna make a motion that we will not entertain the application due to lack of jurisdiction. Simple as that. Does anybody second that?
I'll second.
All those in favor? Okay. So what that means, Mr. Armington, is you're free to homestead. Homestead away. Now, if there are code enforcement issues, there are code enforcement issues. You have to deal with that, right?
Yeah.
And nip it in the bud best you can to prevent any kind of ill will between you and your neighbors. And that's what you've done, I'm sure. But
Best I can.
yeah. So I would say you're free and clear. You know, I mean, beyond that, I don't know what. I mean, I guess.
Right, but you know, so it might be clear, at least suggested, because he does have something very specific here, is that, you know, essentially, since he's not doing this as a business.
Yeah.
This
And
doesn't apply, and that's why I wanna make sure he's clear on it.
yeah. We made that clear. We discussed that. I think
agreed with that.
he gets that. And if you decide to start doing a commercial venture, things might change.
Come to the town first.
Yes.
Yes.
Right. That's probably when you would have to put in an application for the planning board.
Yeah, that was, you know, you look under the table, it'd be, you know, most of those agricultural sort of business things, it's a site plan.
Yeah,
You know.
All right. Well, I think that's it. I think you're good.
Thank you very much, John.
You have questions?
No, yeah. If you have any questions, anything? I'm sure Lindsay, we'll send him some notification in the mail, so you do have something for your files that this has been adjudicated and you're allowed to do this. So we'll send something. We'll send a notice of decision, basically, I guess, with what I just said there, that we don't have any jurisdiction. All right, thank you, sir.
Okay, if I just keep that back?
Oh, yeah, no, that's yours, yeah, keep all your stuff for your files.
Sure, that's.
Yeah.
I don't know if there's any.
Okay, so, the Redemption Center. All right, well, I think we're in a bit of a pickle with this one. It's it's complex, and we've got, there's a lot going on right now, and it'd be hard pressed to give it a thorough vetting right now. It looks, things look good at a glance for sure. And I will admit, I have not had time with the way things have been going over the last several weeks to really sink my teeth into it. It looks good. There was a couple concerns. The CEO's not here.
Yeah, that's my biggest question.
He's sick. I don't know if you heard, he couldn't make it.
Okay, that's fine. I mean, my biggest questions about this are just have to do with the fact that the structure is non-conforming now, right? And that was what Jesse noted.
He, in brief mention, it wasn't an official thing,
Okay.
told me, but in passing, he mentioned
And so that may determine what,
it. Yes.
that would probably be a big deciding factor in how.
Well, what I would recommend here is that we table this application, and I'm sure I know you want to get it done.
Yeah, I do, and so just if I could have a few minutes
Absolutely.
to say, in accordance, and I think this is all in my paperwork, Article 1, Section 2, A2 of the ordinance. The existing building is grandfathered in terms of the dimensional side and front setback standards. It predates the ordinance and the ordinance amendments. I don't believe that the non-conformance of the structure lot setbacks really should have any negative effect or restrictions. There's nothing different than what I'm doing now. This is, you know, an old, rundown, dilapidated building that I'm looking to make shiny and bright to match my existing store. I need office space, which is approved in the village. I need storage space, which is approved in the village. It's a commercial village area. I'm not looking I'm not looking to have any more traffic as far as the tractor trailers. Everything would be picked up when, you know, when the deliveries come, so it's not like they're making any extra trips to my store. And again, you know, we're trying to revitalize downtown. I've been the one person that stepped up and had this whole downtown area look a lot better than what it has. So, you know, this,
Yeah, I agree.
and I am looking to move forward to this. I've invested in this, and I don't want a setback.
Well, unfortunately, there's things beyond our control, and we can't schedule a public hearing, we can't schedule a site walk. We're gonna have to table this application for now, and then wait and see what happens with the larger events, because we have certain things we're gonna have to do that we just can't do right now. So we can certainly go through some things. If anybody has any questions, we can maybe try to get ahead of it, try to get out in front of some things. But I believe as of tonight, we're gonna have to table the application.
Well, can we, it's been found complete, correct?
Yes, it has.
We're here, we've got some time.
Sure, yeah, absolutely, we can dig into it, yeah.
Making it clear for you, and, you know, what Rick says is true. We don't know how it's gonna play out with this virus thing. And we have to have a public hearing.
And a site walk.
And a sidewalk, we can't circumvent that. So we can do whatever's possible within the context of being here now.
Sure, we can dig into it. If we have any questions, we can ask questions. If Mr. Allen has any concerns, we can go over it. But I don't think we're gonna get anything done tonight as far as any vote or anything. Best case scenario, we'll table it and kind of, put it on the next, at the next meeting, and hopefully we'll be able to have the next meeting. And, you know, other than that, I really wouldn't know what to do. I mean, it would be irresponsible of me to schedule a site walk and a public hearing at this point. And I'm not extremely concerned about what's going on out there, but a lot of folks are, so.
I mean, look, maybe we have to, you know, kind of be a little innovative about it. I don't know. I mean, we might have to get some guidance from the MMA.
Lindsay got some guidance from them today.
And can we extend that to like having a public hearing on teleconference or something?
Kind of difficult. I don't know how we do that. Public hearing, you know, a lot of people might want to be involved with this. How do we do that?
Well, we have to.
What exactly are the questions that are pertaining to MMA? Like,
No, not about your application, about how we move forward in the midst of this.
Yeah.
If we could hold an alternative kind of public meeting.
okay,
My concern is trying to move your application ahead of the time you want.
okay.
Because I understand there may be constraints, like anybody else who comes in.
I mean, I was thinking about this on the drive here, like how to handle this stuff, because, you know, I mean, it's been made clear to us pretty much from MMA that, you gotta wrap up whatever you have in front of you, and then we're not even supposed to schedule a public meeting until we know what the game plan is, and again, we have to do that, so I've been trying to think about, how we can do that, so we can keep some of these things moving forward. This was one of the applications, because obviously, we don't want to, we can find a way to limit the impact on people's access, if we process these things done, that would be great. Right.
And I really tried to make sure the application was complete, and any questions that you had were, attained through the papers that I submitted, so.
And it is, but you see, there's things far beyond our control here that are playing into this and forcing us to make some of these decisions.
I mean, I think we can still, but are we open to trying to find an alternative method for doing like a public hearing?
Come up with something.
I don't know.
I mean,
other options for that, like.
Again, maybe the MMA has, started to think about that, or has thought about it, I don't know.
Right. So I guess, as far as questions go, the question that came up, because Jesse had pointed out that the non-conformity of the structure is that this is a change of use.
Right.
And under change of use for an existing non-conforming use may not be changed to another non-conforming use unless the proposed use is equally or more appropriate for the district than the existing use, and the proposed use is reviewed and approved by the planning board. to the standards for review contained, site plan review section sort of. So, I mean, that right there is something we can discuss, because essentially we kinda have to, so that we.
What section is that you're referring to?
This would be on page, this is under general provisions, Article 1, page 8. On this one, but I don't know if you have the,
I don't have it with me, but I have it in my office.
you know, are there some in the other room?
She can, well, there are, yeah, I
I
think
can
the
go grab
room,
one. I mean, is it
yeah, the room's unlocked.
I'll go grab it.
Okay, thank
There
you.
should be one in there. if not.
Yeah, I can't even do this without one in front of me, so.
What is the nature of, you've got to bring this up to speed, I've looked at your application.
Yes,
What is the nature of the non-conformance? Is it setbacks?
it's just the
Yeah.
risk, no, it's the side and front setback standard is,
Oh,
the lot setback, wait a minute, I'm sorry. The existing building is grandfathered in terms of the dimensional side and front setbacks. There's no difference between that and the village. The village and the, commercial.
Right, but it wasn't a dimensional center, so the change of use, that's what.
I see, so she's gonna change it,
Yeah, oh no, it doesn't mean it can't happen, I'm just saying, like, that's something, I'm just saying, that's something we can discuss as a board tonight, because we actually technically would have to discuss it.
See, we don't have.
To justify that fits.
Land use table.
As long as we can say that fits equally as well as what was there before, and being where it is, I see it does, so. We need to address it, that's all.
Okay,
I got another question for you.
yes,
You're gonna use this for office storage and a redemption center?
yes, just some
You know,
extra
I can't
office
speak
space.
for the board, but, I know from our past cases, a redemption center has been a sticky point for us because it doesn't appear
We don't have it in.
in the land use table, so we have to find something equivalent to it.
Yeah, and we looked at a couple things, the trucking, you know, I mean, there was a few things
Nothing
there.
really fit.
Yeah, there was nothing that was quite it, you know, but there was some things that we had,
What did the one at the tire shed fall under, across from
I
Walker's?
don't know, that's
What was-
before my time.
It was a grocery store, because they were selling
yeah,
beverages.
actually, I've got, Lindsay printed up some stuff on that one here. Actually, Andy, you didn't get the benefit of that, so maybe you can hold on to
I
that.
think essentially if this was in the existing building, it would be less of a sticking point, because then it's just part of that business that's in there, so.
In other words, she could,
Right, I mean,
she could parcel off as being part of
That seems like how it's been handled in the past. I mean, like the other one across, the old where the tire shed was, they were selling something.
Beverages.
Beverages too, they sold beverages out of that building. And that's how they originally got to do it.
No, they didn't.
So,
Well, that was what's documented in our, I mean,
that's
I
how
wasn't
that
at
was
the
what
meeting.
that's what they applied to do, or anything at the time, but there's other situations too, I mean. I think if you has,
Same
because so there's nothing going on in that building, and it wasn't, and it's, so whatever this is gonna be a change of use.
Right,
Because it was
right.
residence before, right, last use.
The only thing I can remember about a change of use to commercial is upgrading the driveway, but there's gotta be more, right?
It just says that we just have to determine that, it's, the change of use wouldn't have, because it's a non-conforming structure, wouldn't have a more adverse effect, given where it's at, than the previous non-conforming use, which would have been the residence. So I would say it abuts a commercial property that it has traffic, it's a retail environment, it's essentially an extension of that, and given the other businesses that are in that area, I mean, right across, hardware store, we have, I would have a hard time saying that it does, that it is an issue, I would say it fits, I guess I'm gonna say, I would say it fits there. Particularly since the parking is towards the
It is.
existing business side, which is actually already parking, really. I mean,
It is,
It
yes.
is, it's already parking, so it's not like that, if that house was getting mowed down and turned into a parking lot, I would say that could be a different story, but since, I don't know, it just, to me, I can see a pathway for why it fits there, it makes sense. But
You have the library, and where's your building? Is it separated from the library, or is the next one?
behind the, it's the one at the end, like, you know, where the deer stand is. It's the one back behind the little cleared area.
That's right.
So it's not across Wadley Street there. It's actually right behind.
Yeah, it's right on the same side of the store, it just literally sits right behind it.
Oh, I see.
So if you
On
look,
the
if
same
you're,
side, okay.
yeah, if you're on Federal Road and looking, you see my store, and then right in the back, you see
Okay,
a silhouette of
that's
another
even
building.
better than what I thought.
And then on the back side of that is where the structure is, so it's like on the far side of that piece of the property. So I mean, as far as like the change of use from non-conforming structure, I mean, that's the discussion, is whether or not it would have a more adverse effect. So I think it would, we do have to check that box off too at some point, so I don't know if, you know, what do you guys think about that? Do you think it would have?
You got the library there, there's constant traffic to the well, there was when it was open, right?
Right.
Some of them, but in general, let's assume it's open. There's constant traffic there, people going back and forth. They're going into Village Variety anyway. There's very little traffic on Wadley Street per se, so it's not like you know, an issue in terms of obstructing any existing traffic.
Right.
And it's behind the existing use, which is already commercial. I don't see this being any.
Right, and the park, like I said, the parking lot's already used.
Yeah.
So it's not a.
I don't see.
Now, what, I mean, were there hours of, do you have your hours of operation in here?
Yes,
I'm sure it's in there.
They're in the packet.
Yeah.
Just looking for 9 to 5, 7 days a week.
Yeah.
Just people can get there before work, after work, whatever.
And what's the storage? What would be stored there other than returnables?
Just returnables, some extra inventory for my store. You know, my store is continuing to grow every month. We're doing very well. We're employing more people for Parsonsfield. And, you know, we need more space for product. We don't have a lot of storage area. Sometimes I have the opportunity to do some buy-ins on something that might be on a better deal. Don't have the space to buy in on it, so I have to let go of some of those specials, but, you know, to have a building in that capacity and have rooms that I can store some of my product, you know. The other thing I think is important to know is where the driveway is. You know, I'm not looking for, you know, cars to be coming in on Wadley Street or anything like that. I've got that whole area open. It's not going to add any additional cars on Wadley Street. If anything, I think it's gonna eliminate some of
The
the
access
traffic.
would be right through the, like,
Exactly.
so you'd be right to the right of
That's
the
correct.
scales right there?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Right where all the employees are parking now.
okay, go right there, so that'll be like a throughway there.
Yeah,
And like, what do you, so, proportion of that square footage that you might be using for storage? Other than for returnables, you know, for inventory?
you talking for just like stuff for my store?
Yeah, for your inventory, not
Maybe,
related.
you know, maybe the size of a bedroom,
Okay,
you know, just
like, so,
15, 20 cases of Budweiser that's
Okay.
not fitting on my floor, or I don't wanna clutter my store up. I got a little thing about clutter, I like it organized, and
well, I mean, so with the
Yeah.
primary, so what's the primary use gonna be then? Would more of the building be dedicated to the redemption center, or would more of it be dedicated to offices and storage?
I would say more so redemption, because
Okay.
the whole downstairs is where redemption would be.
Mhm.
And to run a good, clean redemption center, you have to be organized, which means you have to spread out. You can't just have everything in the middle.
Right.
So I would say a good portion of the downstairs would all be redemption. Then there's like 3 bedrooms upstairs. That would be a great office space, extra inventory, extra paper goods that we don't need. You know, just stuff to keep organized.
All right, so look, we have to figure out where it would, I mean, we never really did settle on where it would fit in the table of permissible uses. And that is village, correct? Not village residential, it's village?
Village.
So we would have to have it settle in warehousing and storage to even be able to entertain it unless we create a whole nother position for the land use, which we don't want to do. It's going to take too long. So I think warehousing and storage is what we should tie this to. I mean, it fits pretty well, you know.
No, I agree, that's what I was kind of curious about what, you know,
Yeah,
I
I mean,
mean, it actually sounds like it's almost half the building would be available for warehouse and storage
It would be.
and office space.
So that means that it is subject to site plan review, and it does work in village. So, I mean, we can at least settle on that tonight and say that we've got a spot for it in the table of uses, because we were struggling with that with the last, redemption center, and we never even really settled on a place for it, so.
So we're gonna see this as warehousing with an auxiliary redemption center, is that how you?
Sure, I guess so, I
That's
mean,
kinda how they stick it.
it says warehousing and storage here, I mean, I guess maybe we would denote, yeah, it has a redemption center in it, but
I mean, 70% of redemption storage.
Sure, yeah.
90% of it is, right? I mean, it's all storage once you take it,
Right.
right?
Yeah.
How often would it be heading out?
Well, the way typically redemption works is when a delivery comes, they'll take your full bags. So typically you don't have to have any special.
Oh, I see, yeah, so you're not gonna be having like a tractor trailer coming that you're gonna fill up?
Oh, no.
So it'll just go with the distributors if they take it?
Right,
Okay.
exactly. There might be one brand of flavors of miscellaneous that a truck might come for once every 3 months. It's like the oddball stuff that maybe Budweiser won't take or Miller won't take or something like that. But I don't know, I've never done this, so I don't know how often that kind of product comes in. But if it did come in, I'm prepared to be able to have a place to keep it. I'm not looking to put bags outside. I'm not looking to put, empty thrown cardboard on the ground. I work hard to keep my property looking nice and, I'd like to do some landscaping. If anything, it's gonna spruce Wadley Street up quite a bit, I feel. I wanna do the matching siding that will match my store. I want it to be, like a village redemption.
Can I ask you a question? I'm
Sure.
not sure, it may be in the packet, but I don't see it. You plan to have any signs on this building?
Yes, one sign that would say village redemption.
Okay. Any lighting?
Probably just a regular light, kind of like what's over my front door now. Not any kind of poles or spotlights or anything like that, nothing that would glare into anybody's property.
No kind of bathroom facilities, or, I mean, I know there's existing ones with the house, but you're not gonna upgrade anything for public use or
No.
anything like that.
Nope. Especially now.
Yeah.
I have a question, can I ask one?
Absolutely.
Do you have a place for your delivery trucks or have any, say in when they deliver and when they pick up?
Well, right now we get our deliveries on Wednesdays.
On Wednesday?
Mhm.
Do you have enough room there to be able to back in more than one truck in the back of that building? In the back of your building?
I don't know if we would be backing the trucks up back there. To be honest with you, I don't know if we just bring the bottles out when our deliveries come in. All our deliveries go into that garage door at the store.
Well,
So it just depends on, I guess, what we have in returns going back. I don't know, I haven't done it yet.
I know I was driving out on Federal Street and there were two trucks. One was running back into the place. Another was carrying around out in Federal Road, trying to back down in there. I just wondered if they could be scheduled so that they wouldn't all try to show up.
Yep, they all show up always at the same time, and it's always on Wednesdays. So we managed to get Hood to switch their schedule, but, and then it depends if the gas truck is scheduled to come. It just, Wednesday happens to be our busy day.
Okay.
But yeah, if it's that big of a concern, I probably could ask Budweiser to deliver on Thursday instead of Wednesday, and Miller to come on Tuesday.
Should we place the cars so the people who are bringing in the candy and the clothing,
That's one of the
and
things.
while they're bringing the cans in here? I mean, you can't be out in the street, obviously.
No, they'd be in the parking area.
I haven't seen a sign.
Oh, yeah, yeah. It's right where the employee parking is. It's where the employee parking is.
Yeah.
I'm saying, I'm not sure, maybe we're gonna discuss it.
Whatever I was,
Lindsay, did we hear anything, I'm sorry, did
Oh, no, it's all right, go ahead.
we hear anything from the others? On this?
No, actually, I haven't heard anything from abutters. They have all been sent out notices and they have our contact information and, I always ask them if they would
Okay,
just
I see.
give us any comments, concerns, questions.
Here's what I would suggest, and you guys, help me kick it around. Colleen, just so you be clear, I understand you may have time constraints and you have a running limit. I wanna see if we can accommodate that,
Thank you.
given the understanding that if we get directions from, the state or something that we can't hold these functions, there's nothing we can do about it.
I
But
understand.
I don't know if the other board members agree with that.
I'm fine.
Schedule it. No, I think we should, I mean, I'm okay with scheduling it as long as it's really clear that it's,
So right now, yesterday, in the morning, the guidelines were don't gather in groups more than 50. Well, by the afternoon, the guidelines were don't gather in groups more than 10. Who knows where we'll be in a week? But I say we can go ahead and schedule it. We can schedule it, and what I would recommend is that we schedule a public hearing at the next meeting. So we can have the public hearing and then have the meeting and even adjudicate on the application after the public hearing, I mean, there's really.
Site plan.
So we'd have to do a walk, we'd have to do a site walk. I don't think there's any reason that we,
Can't do that.
no, I mean, that's different, right? That's not,
right, because we could have it just restricted to applicants and then board members, right?
I don't know, butters are allowed to go to
They're-
site walk.
they're
You
public
can't restrict the
meetings, so
butters
really-
from site walk, right? That's in part, part of the rules there.
Yeah.
But.
Can I say two things? When I did my youth store, and we had to go through this whole site walk, I don't even think I had 7 people show up for it, and that was
Right.
such a huge project.
Yeah.
So I don't feel like we have a big community following on this type of stuff.
Right.
So I don't know if that will really be a problem for
Right,
us or
and
not.
I'd like to think that too, but I've been surprised
So,
sometimes.
yeah,
Yeah.
every once in a while,
Yeah.
we'll fill up, the
Well,
gallery be full, so.
Well, that's great then. And then the other thing I wanted to say was, shoot, I lost my train of thought. It might come back, it might not.
It will, after you leave tonight.
Senior moment.
So, do we feel like we've sufficiently discussed, like, any aspect of it?
Well, we've got a home for it in the land use, all right, so that's a big step right there. We know where we're going with it in land use, so we know what we're gonna do there, but I think we should schedule a public hearing for the same day that the next meeting is. That would be my recommendation anyway. I think that would work out pretty well. We would have the public hearing in here if necessary, and then just immediately adjudicate to the meeting and go over the application.
What was the site plan?
The site walk, yeah, so.
4 o'clock hearing, or?
I don't know, what do you guys think? What do you think about the sidewalk? Should it be,
Oh, it should be before, shouldn't it?
yeah, because then it gives you
We have
the
something
things to talk
discuss,
about,
yeah,
right?
that's right.
So, we could say, honestly, we might be told that we have to stay in our house for 2 weeks, but we can go ahead and schedule a sidewalk for, we'll pick a date maybe,
So they advertise it, but.
yeah, so we
We
need,
can do.
we need to put the right proper time in for advertising, so that would put a scheduled sidewalk for,
Late next week, Thursday, Friday, Saturday.
really? That quick we could do it, huh?
Yeah, because when we do notification for regular site plan reviews, there's no indication in our ordinance of like how far you can have the advertisement from the actual meeting.
Okay, so today's the 17th. Let's see, the next meeting is on the 21st of April. Do we really want 4 weeks in between the site walk and the meeting? Or do we want it a little fresher in our minds, Should we maybe have the site walk a couple of weeks
So
out?
we aim high and see what we can, shoot for, let's try, if we can, let's get it done, but I mean, we don't know.
What do you
we
mean,
don't know who knows what's
the
gonna
sooner
happen.
the better for the site
I
walk?
would say sooner the better, and we can just limit, if a bunch of people show up and say, listen, you're gonna have to stay over here, or whatever, like, the only time, be outside except for in the building. Is the building accessible to the public right now? Is it safe to go inside?
Oh, yeah, you can go in.
Yeah, so then, that would be some things we'd have to like limit how many people could go in, go in there and stuff like that. But we should do
So, we're probably gonna have to do that on a weekend, right? Or what? Enough sunshine now that anybody's all right. I don't think Nate could make it after work if we try to do it in the evening. Nate might have a
What
problem.
time? We're getting dark right about 7, because he can't get here much before.
I'm fine with a Saturday, I'm fine with a Sunday if we have to do it on
Hanging
Sunday.
out early on, I like the early weekend myself.
So what are you saying, Friday night or something?
No, we do it on Saturday morning. So it's
Oh,
early.
right, early Saturday.
None of this 10 a.m. in the middle of the day stuff.
Right.
17.
So we got the
So what are you looking
28th.
at?
You know, I mean, I guess the earliest would be Friday the 28th.
Or
that-
Saturday the 28th or
I'm sorry,
Friday?
yeah, Saturday.
Yeah.
Or I'm not opposed to Saturday the 4th, but, you know, whatever, we'll just pick it. The 28th would be doable.
Yeah, whatever time, what time you guys wanna do it?
What time?
10 o'clock.
8 o'clock?
You
That's
didn't hear
early,
it.
man. No, man, what time do you wanna make it, 7:30?
Yeah,
Uh,
like, 8:30.
I'll go 8:30.
All right.
8:30, yeah, all right.
8:30?
8:30 Saturday, the
Okay.
28th.
See you at 7:30 on Thursday.
Can we possibly put a second date in?
A backup?
Of the 4th?
Yeah.
In the
Sure,
event
sure.
that we're on some kind of a hold?
In case there's a rain
Sure,
or.
good idea.
Sure, yeah, right, that way, and we'll go ahead and put it in the advertisement.
Yeah.
The
same
rain
time?
date will be the 4th, same time.
Yep, okay.
And that's gonna be 8:30 at Village?
Correct.
Okay, and it did come back to me what I wanted to say. So I know that you had asked Lindsay if she had received any feedback from the public. I personally have received a few people come in and ask me to go out back and point out what I'm looking to do. And I've actually taken the time with anybody that's knocked on my door. So I have had Thelma show up just to say what's going on, you know, and ask me to show her, so I have. And I've had a lot of positive feedback from the customers. I also want to say that one of my plans for doing this, obviously, is to make money. There's not a lot of money in redemption, not big money, but I do find that people that do redemption have a way to increase their gross sales. So typically, people that are returning the bottles, I'm not looking to hand money across anywhere. They would receive a voucher and come into the store to redeem their voucher. And so most times people at that point will either get, you know, a pizza, a soda, 6-pack of beer, a bottle of liquor, if that's what they're returning bottles of. And it does increase the bottom line for me. So I feel it would be a win-win to have that. It will generate some income on redemption, but it will also bring my bottom line better, which is obviously a goal for me being in business. So that's a positive.
Do we have to have abutters? When do we need to have the abutters?
They've already been
They've already
notified.
done.
They've already been notified, so they can either choose to be here or watch this or fly in or not, up to them.
So are you scheduling a public hearing too?
Public hearing will be scheduled for, the meeting, the next meeting. So the next meeting will be the 21st.
Yeah.
We don't have anything else, and again, all this is subject to change, right? We all know this, this is all subject to change, we're just gonna try to maybe put it on the calendar now, so if we can do it, we can do it. But I would say we could have the public hearing at 6:30 and the meeting at 7. I've even seen some other where they just have the public hearing within the meeting, you know, so we could start the meeting and part of the meeting is the public hearing. Either way, you know, I don't know, 6:30 might be a good idea to put the ad for the public hearing.
Yeah.
6:30, April 21st.
And there's nothing on the agenda for the next meeting?
Yeah,
Yeah,
so we'll
and
be
then
able to
probably
roll right
vote.
into the room and actually vote on the application that evening too.
Yeah, yep.
We've had to set back the town meeting this year.
Oh, yeah, already, huh? Yeah, I guess so.
we're-
So,
we have some financing situations up to that point, so we don't know when we're gonna be doing it.
you know, I really am, I mean, I'm leaning towards this probably won't even happen. We'll probably be told that we gotta stay in the house for 2 weeks. But it's nice to get this stuff done and scheduled, and at least we've got a goal to shoot
I
for.
appreciate that very much. That's all we can do right now, really. Everybody's hands are tied.
Right. Now we just, like I said, put the plan in motion and do what we can do.
Yeah.
I appreciate it very much, thank
Now,
you.
give it a shot.
So what I'll do tonight is I'm gonna make a motion that we table the application until the next meeting. It's just some official something. So I make a motion we table the application.
Can I ask you, what's the point of that?
we gotta, it's for,
Timeline?
well, no, it's more for protocol, procedures, to stick with it, you know? I mean, otherwise, it's just, you know,
Which level?
yeah, so, I mean, it's just, you know,
Yeah, we made our arrangements on it, we'll table it till the next meeting.
yeah, so, nobody wants to second that? Okay, all those in favor? All right, so the application table till the next meeting.
Okay.
All right, so we have to address the third one here, which, yes, that,
Terry McGuire?
yes, Terry McGuire. We can call him if we want to, he's not here. Pretty simple, right? I don't even have any questions. I'm ready to vote on it. If you guys have any questions.
The only issue is that the overhang is an issue, because that's not.
Is that an issue?
Yeah, I believe it is.
Is it?
What is it? The overhang. I gotta make, I don't, because that would encroach on the waters like that.
So what do you say there then? What are you saying, that, you wanna call somebody?
The only, that's the only thing, is like, I'm fine with I'm fine with moving ahead to approve it, provided that is then addressed by CEO, that you know what I mean, like, he can determine, because that's, I mean, the determination of like whether it's code or not, it's his call.
Right, oh, and so the CEO does cursory go over the application
Yeah.
before he sends it to us, right? So that is part of the CEO's job. I'm going to make an assumption here that he saw that and everything was kosher and he forwarded the application to us. That's an assumption. I don't know. Are you not, I mean, you know.
I'm trying to, he did mention something about, you know, last month. I think the overhang was an issue, but he doesn't need an overhang. There's other ways you could build something there.
I'm pretty sure he actually can't have that overhang.
Yeah,
Okay,
That
it
goes
can't
into
go past the railing, but
Yeah.
he can redesign the structure and
So
still
what we
make it
could do
functional.
is we could approve with a condition.
Yeah, we approve with condition that the final design conforms
Has
to
no
the
overhang.
shoreline zone ordinance and does not encroach anymore on the, whatever it is on that front step.
Or conversely, we could deny based on that. Those are the choices here. So we could approve with that condition, or you can deny based on the fact that it does not meet. I'm more apt to approve with the condition.
I make a motion to be approved with the condition.
All those in favor?
So
All right,
what's
so
the
the condition being that,
What, the final design conforms to the shoreline zone ordinance and building code.
Alright.
It does, I guess it doesn't encroach anymore, or whatever it is, I mean, because ultimately, if Jesse says, no, that does fit, then he can do it, yeah.
The only reason I ask is because the motions, when I put it in the minutes, they do have to be like clearly outlined.
Yes.
That's all.
I'm working on that.
It's okay.
Yeah, no, so I would say that was.
These guys aren't helping. Throwing words at me. All right, yeah, no, that's it. I think we got that squared away. Approve,
Okay, so
with the
motion to approve,
with the condition that,
The final design conforms to the shoreline zone ordinance and the town's building ordinances, per the code enforcement officer.
we keep getting longer.
yeah.
You can
I.e. the overhang.
Because that's his jurisdiction.
Right, but I'm just saying, we need to give it, Lindsay, concise words.
Yeah, because
Well,
I gotta
that was
put it in
pretty
his,
concise.
All
I
right.
have to put it in his,
I wrote
notice.
that down, we're putting it, because I think it's important to put that to Jesse,
Yeah.
because he can make the determination that in fact it does conform,
Yes, I agree.
you know? He has the final say on that.
Any other questions on that, or is that, you got enough out of us for that?
I think it's okay.
Can you work with that?
Yeah,
Zach can add some more words to it if you want.
no,
No,
I just have to draft a letter and send it out to him and, you know, make sure I have it in there. I don't wanna assume what the condition is, I just wanna
Right.
understand it.
Yeah, no, yeah.
Oh, it would be helpful if you did. It's just write something up.
Okay, so,
So that's all set?
yeah, so we discussed a recreational marijuana draft warrant article. We're gonna put, what was the deal with that? I mean,
It's up to you guys, but I know if it goes to the select board, you know, if we were gonna have a
Yeah.
election on it, it's probably gonna be pushed down the road.
so all that we had there, we were short on a moratorium, right? We didn't discuss a moratorium. That's what we had to still discuss. If we were gonna
It
go
was-
forward the way we wanted with
It
the
was
moratorium.
a misunderstanding of mine, like, the moratorium has to be a separate ordinance.
Yeah, right.
So it's, you're voting to opt in, and you're voting if you want a moratorium, and so one could have different votes. You know, you could vote to opt in and then strike down the moratorium, or vice versa. The recommendation that MMA gave was like, alternatively, if you wanted to give yourselves time to craft an ordinance, but understand if the town even wants this, is to do a vote to opt in with an effective date. That way, if it gets voted yes, you give yourselves whatever time you think is appropriate or reasonable, and then you gotta, and if it's a no, then you know, like,
Yeah,
okay.
I think I thought that's what actually, now that you bring that up, I don't remember that, I thought that's what we're leaning towards, was doing something like that.
Right.
We had to pick the time frame.
Right.
Because, you know, that sort of basically, you know, creates a moratorium. I mean, the whole point of the moratorium is simply so we can then go through the process of drafting ordinance and getting it done.
So did we vote on something to send to the select board already, and this is something we have to amend?
No, because we'd have to redo the warrant article, do another public hearing,
No.
then it goes to the select board, then they decide.
So
the town.
I would say that we table this and we put this on the back burner.
Until
You know, this is
further
another
notice.
one of these things with, you know, maybe we need to wait and see what happens in the next couple of weeks before we really sink our teeth into this. You know, we've got one more thing here that we do have to address today as far as attendance, but as far as the recreational marijuana draft warrant article goes, to start all over again, let's
I
just wait and
think
see.
I'd be more comfortable if there were more board members.
Yeah, I mean, it's just,
to do that.
we're working on a skeleton crew here, so let's just kind of table that for now, or this would be my recommendation, or what I would
Right,
have.
I mean, I'm just saying, what if, so we have to have a new,
Yeah.
we need to come up with a new,
Basically, a new
Question.
warrant article,
warrant
yeah, a
article.
new question, and then you gotta have a public hearing for that.
we can't throw together a warrant article, a couple words?
I will tell you though, like, we're already closing the town hall to the public foot
Yeah.
traffic, because that's what a lot of other municipalities are doing.
I would say right now, it's not top priority, I mean, really.
Well, I know, but I mean, it takes us literally 30 seconds,
All right,
right?
well, you-
I mean, are you
You're
guys
30 seconds,
willing?
you're 30 seconds into asking, let's go.
All right.
30 seconds, we can,
The
so,
other thing that,
The state is still playing with this thing, they set it back to June.
yeah,
oh, yeah.
let me
They
just
have
say,
nobody to test and stuff.
Oh, right, yeah.
sorry, the other thing I think we ran into with the medical marijuana one was a time frame of when the vote actually happens, because your public hearing has to happen a certain amount of time before that vote. If you go too long, then
Then we
it's
can't.
stale, and you gotta have another public
Then
hearing.
we can't actually schedule anything, we don't know when the next
Yeah.
time we can vote is.
So let's just put it on the back burner.
Yeah.
You know, and I know there are people in town who want to get it
motion
done.
to table the topic for now.
Okay, all right, so I think we can do that without even maybe going through those motions. So we do, last thing here. All right, so actually we have training packets for FOAA. I think you got those from everybody?
Not from everybody, from you and I think Brendan.
You haven't received them from us?
No, I
You
got
did.
two of
So
them.
Andy might still need that. It was a FOIA packet. You might not have, no, you weren't here. Sorry, Andy didn't receive it. He wasn't here.
You didn't get names?
There, that's it right there.
Didn't he do this?
No, all I need is that last page.
Yeah, we'll let Andy just flip through that. He can flip through that.
Is there something that I need to do?
No, it's just a signature. Yeah, it's just,
Okay, I've read it. I
Yeah,
dropped it by?
yeah, absolutely, yeah, or mail it in, whatever's easier.
okay, so the final, order of business is board attendance.
Yeah.
Okay, so we have a position that is in essence vacant. There is somebody in the position, but it can't be served, so basically what our option is to forward that to the select board, sort of. I would make a motion that we suggest the select board vacate the position, and at that point then, it's up to them. They would determine within their wisdom whether it would work or not. So,
Discuss that just a bit.
sure, but I don't think you want to get too personal or names, you know.
No, we don't have to get names, but we can talk about the situation, how it transpired, how we got it, you know, and what it's got to do with us. Basically, I think it came from the select board. This was not something we created, right?
You mean the situation with the inability for
The individual to attend.
Yeah, well, it goes beyond, I mean, it really has nothing to do with the planning board. That's why we're looking at it as just a position. This has nothing to do with personal feelings, with anything. There is a position, and if we're looking at this as a functioning board, that position is not functioning. It cannot function the way it is. It has not been filled. Nothing's happened there. So we have to make a determination what to do with that position. And that's all I'm looking at it. The person or the situation has nothing to do with it.
Well, I make a motion that we recommend the board vacate the position
Okay, I second that motion.
And
You wanna discuss it a little more?
I'm just real uncomfortable with the whole thing that always happened, and you guys know that.
Yep.
Dating back, and I expressed that to the select board early on.
I might
So-
make, mention that we're still taking heat for that,
I'm sure you are.
even up to today.
Yeah. I mean, we probably will, as long as, yeah, I mean, who knows how long.
You know, it's a tricky situation, and I guess I would be willing to vote with you guys on this. I'm just, you know,
no, I know where you're coming from, I agree with you, but I think my, where I've come to it is that like, we're not, you know.
Yeah.
It's
We're
not-
not gonna get to that, we're not gonna
we don't have,
any answers.
we don't have
Yeah, we're not
the
gonna.
authority to deal with
If,
it.
if we look at it like we want to be a functioning board, there is a problem that we need to address.
Yeah.
What do we do to address that?
Okay.
Now, is there a possibility if you have a quorum, obviously you can do this, that some of the other members might object to?
I know one
Certainly
particular
one.
member that would object, he's objected from the beginning, but
not
he's
voting
an
member.
alternate, and this is,
All right, I just.
I mean, in attendance, it may come up later down the road, but there's also the like 75, like you have to attend 75% of all meetings in 12 months.
right.
So that's another thing, you know, where I do time and attendance, and some people don't fall within that.
Right. Yeah, I don't know, I haven't really seen what the attendance is like, so I don't know if anybody else falls under that minimum other than this
There's
one
one.
position.
There's one person.
And if it's the one I'm thinking of, he is fairly active in his position, so maybe, we could mention it, but to group that in with the other position that's just completely unavailable to have anybody here. Short of that, I don't know what to do. I mean, this has been dragging out for quite some time, and we've been hit from every side, from all people.
You seconded.
Yeah, so
You
we'll
guys
go,
wanna vote?
wanna think about it a little
You wanna
more?
call a vote there, Mr. Chairman?
State the motion again?
I make a motion, we recommend to the select board they vacate the position so that it can be filled.
And I would second that motion. And I'm gonna say all those in favor. All those opposed?
I'm abstaining.
Okay, so it's a 2-to-1 vote. So it passes.
Okay.
So, that's done. I believe that's it, right? So I make a motion to adjourn at 8:10.
All right.
All those in favor? All right, meeting adjourned.